Welcome aboard the Moonlight story train. Tonight, we will travel through quiet forests, glowing lakes, soft clouds, and peaceful night skies. Meet gentle animal friends along the way, each on their own calming journey to sleep. Take a slow breath in and gently breathe out. Let your body relax and let the stories carry you into a peaceful dream. Now, close your eyes and let the journey begin. Under the quiet silver moon, the animal dream forest is peaceful tonight. Tall trees stretch gently toward the sky, their leaves whispering softly in the night breeze. Fireflies float slowly between the branches, glowing like tiny stars in the forest air. Deep inside the forest, near the roots of an old oak tree, a sleepy brown bear stretches his paws. Yawn. This is Benny the bear. Benny is very sleepy tonight. Winter is coming soon, and Benny is getting ready for his long winter nap. He curls up beside the tree, but something keeps him awake. Benny opens one eye, then the other. He murmurs softly. I think I forgot how to fall asleep. Just then, a tiny glow floats gently through the trees. It is Milo, the little star conductor. His tiny blue hat twinkles in the moonlight. Good evening, Benny, Milo says softly. You look very sleepy. Benny, I am sleepy, he says, but my mind keeps thinking and thinking. Milo floats beside the big bear. That happens sometimes, Milo whispers kindly. Would you like to try something special? Benny nods slowly. Milo floats upward, and the fireflies gather around them. Let's listen to the quiet forest, Milo says. They listen. The trees sway softly. The wind whispers through the leaves. A little owl hoots far away. The forest is calm. Now, Milo says gently, take a slow breath in. Benny breathes in slowly. His big round belly rises gently. And slowly breathe out. Benny breathes out. His shoulders relax. The fireflies drift lazily through the air. Let's try again, Milo says. Benny takes another slow breath in and slowly breathes out. This time, his eyes begin to droop. Oh my, Benny murmurs. I feel very cozy now. He curls into a soft, fluffy ball beside the tree. The moonlight shines softly on his fur. Thank you, Milo, Benny whispers. Sweet dreams, Benny, Milo replies gently. Soon, Benny the bear is fast asleep. His breathing is slow and peaceful. The forest grows even quieter. The fireflies glow softly above him. And high above the trees, the dream train glides silently across the night sky, watching over the sleeping forest. Good night, little traveler, and good night, sleepy bear. Sweet dreams. Far beyond the tall trees of the animal dream forest, there is a quiet, open meadow The grass moves gently in the night breeze. Silver moonlight shines across the field, turning every blade of grass into tiny glowing threads. This place is called the Whispering Meadow, and tonight, someone very small is still awake. A little bunny hops slowly through the grass. Her name is Lila. Lila the bunny has very big ears. Her ears can hear the quietest sounds in the whole meadow. But tonight, Lila cannot fall asleep. She wiggles her nose. Twitch, twitch. I hear too many sounds, she whispers. The wind moves through the grass. Swish, swish. Crickets chirp in the distance. Chirp, chirp. An owl hoots softly from the forest. Hoo, hoo. Lila. So many sounds, she says. How can I sleep? Just then, a small glowing light floats down from the sky. It is Milo, the little star conductor. His tiny blue hat sparkles in the moonlight. Good evening, Lila, Milo says gently. Lila's ears perk up. Oh, hello, Milo, she says. I'm trying to sleep, but the meadow is too noisy tonight. Milo floats softly above the grass. The meadow isn't noisy, he whispers. It is whispering. Lila tilts her head. Whispering? Milo, let's listen together. They sit quietly in the grass. The wind moves softly. Swish, swish. The crickets sing their tiny night song. Chirp, chirp. The owl hoots again far away. Hoo, hoo. This is the sound of nighttime, Milo says softly. The meadow is telling its bedtime story. Lila's ears slowly relax. Oh, she whispers. It sounds peaceful now. She curls into the soft grass. The moon shines gently above her. Fireflies float slowly across the meadow. Good night, Lila, Milo whispers. Good night, Milo, she replies sleepily. Soon, Lila the bunny is fast asleep. Her tiny nose barely twitches. The whispering meadow grows quiet again. And high above the meadow, the dream train glides slowly across the starry sky, watching over the peaceful night. Good night, little traveler, and good night, quiet bunny. Sweet dreams. High above the quiet animal dream forest, where the tallest trees touch the stars, there is an old silver tree. Its branches stretch wide into the night sky, and high on one of those branches lives a small owl. Her name is Luna. Luna is a young owl, and tonight is a very special night. Tonight is the first night she will fly on her own. But Luna is not feeling brave. She peeks over the edge of the branch. The forest below is dark. The shadows move gently between the trees. What if I get lost? Luna whispers. What if the night is too big? She fluffs her soft feathers nervously. Just then, a tiny glowing light floats up through the branches. It is Milo, the little star conductor. His small blue hat sparkles softly. "Hello, Luna," Milo says kindly. "You look deep in thought." "I'm supposed to fly tonight," she says, "but the forest is so dark." Milo floats beside the branch. "The night isn't empty," he whispers. "It is full of gentle lights." Luna tilts her head. "Lights?" Milo points toward the sky. Thousands of stars sparkle above them. Some twinkle softly. Some shine bright and steady. "Those are the skylights," Milo says. Then he gestures toward the forest. Fireflies glow between the trees. Little golden lights drifting slowly through the air. "And those are the forest lights." Luna looks around carefully. The night suddenly feels different. Not dark, just quiet, and full of tiny glowing friends. "Would you like to try flying?" Milo asks gently. Luna spreads her wings. They are soft and wide. She takes a small breath, then another. Slowly, she flaps her wings. The wind lifts her gently from the branch. Up she goes, gliding quietly through the cool night air. The forest below looks peaceful. The stars above look close enough to touch. Luna circles once, then twice. "I'm flying," she whispers happily. Milo floats beside her. "The night is your friend," he says softly. Soon, Luna grows sleepy. She glides back to her tree, curling into her soft feathers. The stars twinkle quietly above her. Fireflies drift slowly through the forest. And high above the trees, the dream train glides silently across the sky, watching over the peaceful night. Good night, little owl. Good night, little traveler. Sleep well beneath the stars. Tonight, the moon rose slowly above the quiet forest. Silver moonlight slipped gently through the tall trees, touching the leaves and painting the ground with soft, glowing patterns. Inside a warm little den beneath an old oak tree lived a young fox named Lumi. Lumi was small, curious, and full of wonder. But tonight, for some reason, Lumi couldn't fall asleep. He rolled onto one side of his soft moss bed, then the other. The forest was very quiet. Too quiet. So Lumi slowly stepped outside his cozy den. The cool night air brushed gently through his fur. Above him, the sky stretched wide and deep, filled with tiny, shimmering stars. Lumi looked up and whispered softly, "Where do all the tiny lights come from?" Just then, something warm and golden floated past his nose. Lumi blinked. A firefly hovered in the air, glowing softly like a tiny lantern. It drifted slowly in front of him, blinking gently. On, off, on, off. Lumi tilted his head curiously. Then another firefly appeared, and another. Soon, dozens of glowing fireflies floated quietly through the trees. Their lights flickered like small stars dancing in the forest. Lumi took a careful step forward. The fireflies seemed to move together, drifting slowly deeper into the woods, almost as if they were inviting him to follow. So the little fox padded softly along the path. The forest floor felt cool beneath his paws. Tall ferns swayed quietly in the night breeze. Owls hooted gently in the distance, and all around him, the fireflies floated like a river of golden light. The deeper Lumi walked into the forest, the calmer everything felt. The fireflies slowed their dancing. The night grew softer and quieter. Soon the trees opened into a small clearing. In the middle of the clearing was a quiet, moonlit pond. The water was smooth and still, like a mirror. The fireflies gathered above the pond, glowing gently in the darkness. Their reflections shimmered on the water, turning the pond into a sky full of tiny stars. Lumi sat beside the water and watched. The fireflies drifted slowly, back and forth, back and forth. Their golden lights blinked softly. The quiet rhythm made Lumi feel warm and peaceful. The cool night breeze rustled the leaves above him. Somewhere nearby, a frog made a soft, croaking sound. The forest was calm, safe, still. Lumi curled his fluffy tail around his body. The glowing lights of the fireflies floated slowly through the air. The moon watched quietly from above, and little by little, Lumi's eyes began to grow heavy. The dancing lights turned softer. The forest sounds became gentle whispers. Soon, the little fox drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep beside the glowing pond. All through the quiet night, the fireflies continued their silent dance above the water, like tiny guardians of the forest, and the moon shone softly over the sleeping fox. Good night, little Lumi. Good night, glowing fireflies. And good night to you. May your dreams be calm and full of gentle light. Sleep well. Tonight, the forest was wrapped in soft silver light. The moon hung quietly above the tall trees, and the air felt still and gentle. In a quiet clearing, a little deer named Elin stood alone. Elin had slender legs and soft brown fur, with tiny white spots that shimmered faintly under the moonlight. But tonight, Elin could not sleep. She lowered herself onto the soft grass, then stood up again. The night felt too quiet, too wide, and somehow a little uncertain. Elin looked up at the sky. The stars were scattered across the darkness like tiny glowing dots. She whispered softly, "I wish I could feel calm." High above the forest, something moved quietly between the stars. A small, warm light drifted across the sky. It was the star conductor, guiding the dream train through the night. The star conductor paused, as if he had heard the quiet voice below. He gently raised his glowing hand, and far beneath him, a faint path of light began to appear. At first, it was just a soft glow. Then, slowly, It stretched across the forest like a thin ribbon of starlight. It was a star path, a quiet path made of soft, glowing light. Elin blinked. The star path shimmered gently in front of her, not bright, not loud, just calm, inviting. She took a small step forward. The light beneath her hooves felt warm and soft, like walking on quiet moonlight. The path moved slowly through the forest, between tall trees, across gentle shadows. Each step Elin took made the world feel softer. The sounds of the night faded into a gentle hush. The wind slowed to a whisper. The stars above flickered more slowly. The path glowed in a quiet rhythm, slow, soft, steady. Elin followed the star path deeper into the forest. Her steps became lighter, her breathing slower. The glow around her dimmed into a peaceful softness. High above, the star conductor watched quietly, guiding the light, keeping it calm, keeping it slow, just enough to lead her gently toward rest. Elin reached a quiet spot where the star path widened into a soft, glowing circle. She lowered herself onto the ground. The light wrapped around her like a gentle blanket. The forest was now completely still. The stars shimmered faintly. The night felt safe, warm, quiet. Elin closed her eyes. The glowing path slowly faded into the earth, and the little deer drifted into a deep and peaceful sleep. Above the forest, the star conductor gave a gentle nod, and the dream train continued its quiet journey across the sky, carrying soft dreams to every corner of the night. Good night, little dear. Good night, quiet stars. And good night to you. Sleep peacefully. Tonight, the lake was as still as glass. The moon hung gently above the water, casting a soft silver glow across the quiet surface. Not a single ripple moved, not a sound disturbed the night. Near the edge of the lake, a little turtle named Kai rested quietly on a smooth stone. Kai was small and gentle, with a round shell that shimmered softly under the moonlight. But tonight, Kai couldn't fall asleep. He shifted slightly, then tucked his head in, then peeked back out again. The night felt too wide, too still, and somehow he felt a little restless inside. Kai looked out across the lake. The moonlight stretched far across the water like a glowing path. He whispered softly, "I wish I could feel calm." High above the lake, beyond the quiet clouds, something small and warm drifted through the stars. It was the star conductor, guiding the dream train gently across the night sky. The star conductor slowed, as if he had heard the quiet wish below. With a soft wave of light, the surface of the lake began to change. At first, it was just a faint shimmer. Then, slowly, a floating path of moonlight appeared on the water, soft, glowing, and gently moving. Kai blinked. The glowing light drifted slowly toward him, like a quiet invitation. Carefully, he slid off the stone and into the water. The lake was calm, cool, gentle. As Kai floated forward, the glowing moonlight moved beneath him, carrying him softly across the water. No effort, no rush, just drifting. The water moved in slow, gentle waves, back and forth, back and forth. The glowing path shimmered with a quiet rhythm, slow, soft, steady. Kai felt his body relax, his breathing slowed. The wide night no longer felt empty. It felt peaceful, safe. The stars above reflected softly in the water. The moonlight wrapped around him like a warm blanket. High above, the star conductor watched quietly, keeping the light soft, keeping the movement slow, just enough to guide Kai toward rest. The floating path drifted further into the quiet lake. Everything became softer. The ripples slowed. The light dimmed gently. Kai's eyes grew heavy. He let himself float. The water carried him. The moonlight glowed faintly beneath him. And slowly, Kai drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep. The lake remained still. The stars shimmered softly above, and the floating moonlight faded gently into the night. High in the sky, the star conductor gave a small, gentle nod, and the dream train continued its quiet journey, carrying peaceful dreams across the world. Good night, little turtle. Good night, quiet lake. And good night to you. Drift softly into sleep. Tonight, the world was covered in soft, silent snow. The sky stretched wide and deep above the frozen land, filled with tiny, glowing stars. A gentle moon shone over the ice, turning everything into a quiet, silver dream. Near the edge of a frozen lake stood a little penguin named Nico. Nico had soft, black and white feathers and small, round eyes that shimmered under the moonlight. But tonight, Nico could not sleep. He waddled slowly across the snow, then stopped, then waddled again. The night felt too big, too open, and the silence felt a little lonely. Nico looked up at the sky and whispered softly, "I wish I could feel calm." High above the frozen land, something warm moved quietly through the stars. A small, glowing light drifted across the sky. It was the star conductor, guiding the dream train through the night. The star conductor slowed, as if he had heard Nico's quiet voice. With a gentle wave of light, the frozen lake began to glow. At first, just a faint shimmer beneath the ice. Then, slowly, a soft ice path of light appeared across the frozen surface, smooth, shining, and gently glowing. Nico blinked. The glowing path stretched across the frozen lake like a quiet invitation. He took a careful step onto the ice. It felt smooth beneath his feet, cool, but calm. He took another step. Then, slowly, he began to slide, gently, softly. The glowing path carried him forward. Glide, pause, glide, pause. The movement was slow and steady. The world grew quieter. The wind softened into a gentle whisper. The stars above flickered slowly. The glowing path beneath him pulsed with a calm rhythm, slow, soft, steady. Nico's body began to relax. His small flippers rested gently at his sides. The The sliding became smoother, easier. The night no longer felt big. It felt peaceful, safe, still. High above, the star conductor watched quietly, keeping the light soft, keeping the path smooth, just enough to guide Nico gently into rest. The glowing ice path drifted deeper into the frozen lake. Everything slowed. The light dimmed softly. The movement became gentle and quiet. Nico slowed, then stopped. He lowered himself onto the smooth ice. The soft glow surrounded him like a warm blanket. The stars shimmered faintly above. The night was calm, silent, peaceful. Nico closed his eyes, and slowly, he drifted into a deep and quiet sleep. The glowing ice path faded gently into the frozen lake. High in the sky, the star conductor gave a small, gentle nod, and the dream train continued its soft journey across the stars, carrying peaceful dreams through the night. Good night, little penguin. Good night, quiet snow. And good night to you. Sleep peacefully. Tonight, the sky was soft and endless. High above the quiet world, gentle clouds drifted slowly beneath the glowing moon. The stars shimmered faintly, like tiny lights floating in a calm sea of night. On one of the soft, floating clouds stood a little elephant named Eli. Eli was small and round, with soft gray skin and big, gentle eyes. But tonight, Eli could not sleep. He shifted his feet, then curled his trunk, then looked up at the sky again. The night felt too wide, too quiet, and inside, something felt a little unsettled. Eli whispered softly, "I wish I could feel calm." Far above the clouds, a warm golden light drifted slowly through the stars. It was Milo, the star conductor, guiding the dream train across the night sky. Milo paused, as if he had heard Eli's quiet wish. He gently lifted his glowing hand, and the clouds began to move, softly, slowly. The cloud beneath Eli glowed with a gentle light. It lifted slightly and began to drift. Not fast, not far, just enough. Milo whispered gently, "Let's go slowly." The cloud carried Eli across the sky. The stars shimmered softly around him. The night felt quieter, softer, calmer. Eli took a slow breath in, and then slowly breathed out. The cloud drifted gently forward, in and out. The stars flickered slowly, in and out. The moonlight wrapped softly around him, in and out. Everything began to slow. The clouds moved like a soft, quiet ocean. The wind became a gentle whisper. The world felt safe, still, calm. Eli's body began to relax. His trunk rested gently against the cloud. His eyes grew heavier. The glowing cloud beneath him pulsed softly, like a slow, peaceful heartbeat. Milo watched quietly from the sky, keeping the light soft, keeping the movement slow. guiding the night gently toward rest. The cloud drifted further into the quiet sky. Everything became softer. The light dimmed gently. The stars glowed faintly. Eli took one last slow breath in and slowly breathed out. His body became still, warm, peaceful. And slowly, Eli drifted into a deep and gentle sleep. The clouds continued their quiet journey. The stars shimmered softly above. And Milo, the star conductor, guided the dream train onward, carrying peaceful dreams across the sky. Good night, little elephant. Good night, soft clouds. And good night to you. Breathe slowly and drift into sleep. Tonight, the town was quiet and still. Soft lights glowed gently from the windows of small houses, and the night air felt cool and calm. Above it all, the sky stretched wide and deep, filled with tiny, shimmering stars. On the roof of a small house sat a little kitten named Luna. Luna had soft gray fur and bright, gentle eyes. But tonight, Luna could not sleep. She curled her tail around her paws, then stretched, then curled again. The night felt quiet, but her thoughts felt busy. Luna looked up at the sky and whispered softly, "I wish I could feel calm." High above the rooftops, beyond the drifting clouds, a warm golden light moved gently through the stars. It was Milo, the star conductor, guiding the dream train across the night sky. Milo slowed, as if he had heard Luna's quiet voice. He lifted his glowing hand, and the night air began to change. A soft breeze moved gently across the rooftop. The stars above flickered slowly, and a faint path of glowing starlight appeared across the sky, just above Luna. Not bright, not strong, just soft enough to follow. Luna blinked. The glowing light shimmered gently in front of her. Curious, she took a small step forward, then another. The rooftop felt warm beneath her paws. The breeze brushed softly through her fur. The starlight drifted slowly, leading her gently along the quiet rooftop. Step, pause. Step, pause. Her body began to relax. The world grew softer. The sounds of the night faded into a gentle hush. The breeze slowed. The stars shimmered more quietly. Luna's breathing began to follow the rhythm of the night. In and out. The starlight pulsed softly. In and out. Her tail rested gently. Her paws slowed. In and out. Everything felt calm, still, safe. High above, Milo watched quietly, keeping the light soft, keeping the rhythm slow, guiding the night gently toward rest. Luna found a warm spot on the rooftop. She curled her small body into a soft ball. The stars glowed faintly above her. The breeze became still. The night felt peaceful, quiet, warm. Luna took one last slow breath in and slowly breathed out. Her eyes closed, and gently, she drifted into a deep and peaceful sleep. Above the rooftops, the starlight faded softly into the sky, and Milo, the star conductor, continued his quiet journey, carrying gentle dreams across the night. Good night, little kitten. Good night, quiet stars. And good night to you. Rest softly and sleep well. Tonight, the house was quiet and warm. Soft golden light glowed gently from a small lamp in the corner of the room, casting long, calm shadows across the floor. Outside the window, the night stretched wide and peaceful, filled with tiny, shimmering stars. The curtains moved ever so slightly as a soft breeze drifted in from the open window. Beside the window sat a little puppy named Ollie. Ollie had soft brown fur, small floppy ears, and gentle eyes that reflected the warm light around him. But tonight, Ollie could not sleep. He curled up on his blanket, then lifted his head, then turned to the other side. The room was quiet, but inside, his thoughts felt busy. Too many little feelings, too much movement inside a still night. Ollie looked toward the window. The stars twinkled softly beyond the glass, slow and steady. He whispered gently, "I wish I could feel calm." High above the quiet house, beyond the drifting clouds, a warm golden light moved slowly across the sky. It was Milo, the star conductor, guiding the dream train gently through the night. Milo slowed. As if he had heard Ollie's quiet voice, he raised his glowing hands softly, and the light from the window began to change. At first, it was only a faint shimmer on the floor. Then, slowly, a soft, glowing path of light spread across the wooden floor near the window. Warm, gentle, and calm. The light flickered slowly, like a quiet heartbeat. Ollie blinked. The glow moved gently, as if inviting him closer. He stood up slowly and took a small step forward, then another. The floor felt warm beneath his paws. The breeze brushed softly through his fur. The curtains whispered gently behind him. The glowing light pulsed, slow, soft, steady. Ollie's breathing began to follow the rhythm, in and out. The light shimmered softly, in and out. The room grew quieter. The small sounds faded into stillness. Even the ticking of time seemed to slow. In and out. Ollie's body began to relax. His ears lowered gently. His shoulders softened. His tail rested quietly beside him. The glow wrapped around him like a warm blanket. The air felt safe, still, peaceful. Outside, the stars shimmered more slowly now. The breeze became softer. The night felt calm. High above, Milo watched quietly, keeping the light soft, keeping the rhythm slow, guiding Ollie gently toward rest. Ollie found a warm spot beside the window. He circled once, then slowly curled into a small, soft ball. The glow dimmed gently around him. The room became still, quiet, comfortable. Ollie took one slow breath in, filling the quiet space inside his, and slowly breathed out, letting everything soften. Again, in and out. His eyes grew heavy. The light faded softer. The world became calm, and gently, Ollie drifted into a deep and peaceful sleep. Outside the window, the stars shimmered softly in the night sky, and Milo, the star conductor, continued his quiet journey above, carrying gentle dreams to every quiet home. Good night, little puppy. Good night, warm light. And good night to you. Breathe slowly and drift into sleep. On a quiet river, under a soft silver moon, there lived a little otter named Nori. Nori loved the water. She loved the gentle ripples, the soft night sounds, and the way the moonlight shimmered like tiny stars across the surface. But every evening, as the sky slowly grew darker, Nori felt something she didn't like. She felt alone. Other otters drifted together, floating side by side, holding paws as they slept. They moved gently with the current, calm and close. Nori watched them from a distance, not because she wanted to stay away, but because she didn't know how to be part of it. Every time she thought about getting closer, her heart would feel tight, and she would quietly drift back into the shadows. One night, the river was especially still. The water looked like glass, reflecting the moon so clearly that it felt like the sky had fallen into the river. Nori floated on her back, staring up at the quiet stars. "I wish I knew how to not feel so alone," she whispered softly. At that moment, a warm golden light appeared on the water. It wasn't the moon. It moved gently, like something alive. Nori lifted her head and saw a glowing train drifting slowly across the night sky. It was soft and quiet, leaving behind a trail of light like a dream. Beside it floated a tiny, shining star, wearing a small blue conductor hat. "Hello," the star said gently. "I'm Milo, the star conductor." Nori blinked, a little surprised, but the light felt warm, not scary. "Hello," she replied quietly. Milo drifted down closer to the river, his glow reflecting softly in the water around her. "This is a peaceful place," he said. "May I stay here with you for a while?" Nori hesitated for a moment, then gave a small nod. "Okay." They floated side by side in silence. The river moved slowly beneath them, and the night felt calm. Nori noticed something strange. The feeling in her chest wasn't as heavy anymore. "You don't have to say anything," Milo said gently. "Sometimes just being here is enough." Nori took a slow breath. "I see other otters holding paws when they sleep," she said. "They look so calm, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to be close like that." Milo's light flickered softly, like a tiny heartbeat. "You don't have to know everything all at once," he said. "Would you like to try something small?" Nori looked at him, unsure but curious. "What kind of small?" Milo smiled. Just don't drift away this time." The river gently carried them. Nori felt the familiar urge to move back, to give space, to hide. But this time, she stayed. Her body felt a little tense, but she didn't pull away. "That's enough," Milo said softly. "You're already doing it." A gentle current passed through the river, nudging them slightly closer. The water made soft, calming sounds around them. Nori's heart beat a little faster. "Now," Milo whispered, "if you feel ready, you can try reaching out. Just a little." Slowly, very slowly, Nori lifted her paw. She paused for a moment, unsure. The night remained quiet. The river remained gentle. Nothing rushed her. Then, softly, she reached forward. Her paw touched Milo's light. Warm, calm, still. Nori froze for a moment, waiting for something to feel wrong. But nothing did. The water stayed smooth. The night stayed peaceful. "Oh," she whispered. Milo didn't move. He simply stayed there with her. Nori's body slowly relaxed. Her breathing softened. The tight feeling in her chest began to fade, little by little. They floated together, side by side, not too close, not too far, just enough. In the distance, other otters drifted in their own quiet groups. But this time, Nori didn't feel like she was outside of something. She felt like she had already found her place. "You see," Milo said gently, "being close doesn't have to be big. It can be quiet. It can be small." Nori smiled softly, her eyes beginning to close. "I think I understand now." Above them, the Moonlight train continued its slow journey across the sky, glowing softly like a lullaby. Nori floated peacefully, her paw still resting gently against Milo's light. And that night, under the silver moon, a little otter learned that she didn't have to stop feeling afraid all at once. She only needed to stay, just a little closer than before. And that was already enough. On a wide, quiet plain under a sky full of stars, there lived a little giraffe named Lenny. Lenny was kind and gentle, but there was something that made her feel different from everyone else. She was taller than all the other animals, much taller. When the zebras gathered together, they stood close and talked softly. When the antelopes rested, they curled up side by side in the grass. Even the birds flew together in small, happy groups. But Lenny always stood alone. Not because she wanted to, but because she didn't know where she fit. At night, when the world grew quiet, Lenny would look up at the stars. From where she stood, she could see farther than anyone else. She could see the moon rising early, and the soft glow of distant clouds drifting slowly across the sky. It was beautiful, but it also made her feel even more alone. "I'm too different," she whispered one night. "I don't belong down there, but I don't belong up here either." A gentle breeze moved through the grass. The stars shimmered softly. And then, far above the clouds, something began to glow. A warm golden light drifted slowly across the night sky. Lenny blinked, and lifted her head higher. There it was, a glowing train, moving silently through the stars. And beside it floated a tiny, shining star, wearing a small blue conductor hat. "Hello," the star said softly as he drifted down. "My name is Milo," the star conductor. Lenny watched him carefully. She had never seen anyone quite like him. "You're very bright," she said quietly. Milo smiled. "And you are very tall." Lenny looked away. "That's the problem," she said. "I'm too tall. I don't fit with anyone." Milo floated gently beside her, his soft glow lighting up the space around them. "Too tall for what?" he asked. Lenny hesitated. "For being close," she said. "Everyone else stays together, but I always feel far away." Milo didn't answer right away. Instead, he slowly drifted upward, higher and higher into the night sky. "Come with me," he said gently. Lenny blinked in surprise. "I can't fly," she said. "You don't have to," Milo replied. "Just take one small step forward." Lenny wasn't sure what he meant, but she took a careful step, then another. She walked up a gentle hill nearby, and as she reached the top, something changed. The world looked different. The animals below were still there, resting together in the soft grass. But now, Lenny could also see something else. She could see the sky more clearly than ever before. The stars felt closer. The moonlight wrapped around her softly. Milo floated beside her. "You see," he said, "you are not far away. You are in between." Lenny looked around. "In between?" she repeated. "You can see the ground," Milo said, "and you can see the sky. Not everyone can do that." Lenny stayed quiet for a moment. The wind moved gently around her. For the first time, she didn't feel like she was standing outside of everything. She felt like she was standing somewhere special. "But I still don't know how to be close," she said softly. Milo's light flickered gently. "Being close doesn't always mean standing next to someone," he said. "Sometimes it means seeing things others can't, and sharing that quietly." Lenny looked up at the sky. Then, slowly, she bent her long neck down toward the ground. She lowered her head, just a little. Below, a small group of animals rested peacefully. One of them looked up. Their eyes met. Lenny didn't move away this time. She stayed. The distance didn't feel so big anymore. Milo drifted gently beside her. "You didn't have to change who you are," he said. "You only needed to see where you stand." Lenny smiled softly. For the first time, she didn't feel too tall. She felt just right. Above her, the Moonlight train continued its quiet journey through the stars, soft and slow, like a dream that knew exactly where to go. And that night, under a sky full of quiet light, a little giraffe discovered something new. She was never too far. She was simply closer to the stars. On a quiet, grassy plain under a soft, moonlit sky, there lived a little kangaroo named Kira. Kira loved staying close to her mother, very close. She spent most of her time tucked safely inside her mother's pouch, warm and hidden, listening to the gentle rhythm of her mother's steps. Out there, the world felt big, too open, too unknown. So Kira stayed where it felt safe. Every evening, as the sky turned deep blue and the stars began to glow, the other young kangaroos would hop and play across the open land. They jumped over soft hills, chased shadows, and laughed under the moonlight. But Kira stayed inside the pouch, watching, quiet. "Do you want to come out and play?" her mother would ask gently. Kira would peek out just a little, then quickly shake her head. "Maybe later," she whispered. But later never came. One night, the wind was soft and the world was very still. The moon hung low and golden, lighting the land in a gentle glow. Kira looked out again. The others were far away now, their shapes small under the wide sky. She felt something she didn't quite understand. She wanted to be there, but she didn't want to leave. Just then, a warm golden light moved slowly across the sky. Kira blinked. It wasn't the moon. It was something else. A glowing train drifted quietly above the clouds, and beside it floated a tiny, shining star wearing a small blue conductor hat. "Hello," the star said softly. Kira froze for a moment, then slowly leaned out of the pouch. "Hello," she replied. "I'm Milo, the star conductor," he said gently. Kira looked at him, her eyes wide. "You're very bright," she said. Milo smiled. "And you are very safe." Kira held on to the edge of the pouch. "I like it here," she said. "It's warm, and nothing can go wrong." Milo floated a little closer. "That's a beautiful place," he said. "But do you know something?" Kira tilted her head. "What?" "You can carry that feeling with you," Milo said softly. "You don't have to leave it behind." Kira frowned slightly. "I don't understand." Milo's light flickered gently. "Would you like to try something very small?" Kira hesitated. "Okay." "Just come out," Milo said, "and stay close." Kira took a deep breath. Slowly, she stepped out of the pouch. Her feet touched the ground. It felt different. Cool, open, a little scary. She stayed very close to her mother, so close that she could still feel her warmth. "That's enough," Milo said softly. "You didn't go far." Kira looked up. Nothing bad had happened. The night was still gentle. The wind was still soft. "Now," Milo whispered, "take one small hop." Kira hesitated. Then, a tiny hop. She landed safely. Her heart beat fast, but she was okay. She looked back. Her mother was still there, right where she needed her. Kira took another hop, a little bigger this time. The world didn't feel as scary anymore. It felt a little wider, but still safe. Milo floated beside her, glowing softly. "You see," he said, "you didn't lose your safe place. You just made your world a little bigger." Kira smiled. For the first time, she didn't feel like she had to choose between staying or going. She could do both. Above her, the moonlight train drifted slowly through the stars, leaving a soft trail of light behind. Kira took one more gentle hop forward, then another. Not too far, just enough. And that night, under the quiet, glowing sky, a little kangaroo discovered something new. Letting go didn't mean losing what felt safe. It meant carrying it with her, wherever she went. The little dolphin who was afraid of the deep. In a wide, quiet ocean, under a soft, moonlit sky, there lived a little dolphin named Nilo. Nilo loved to swim near the surface. Up there, the water was bright and clear. The moonlight danced on the waves, and the air above felt close and comforting. But below, the deep ocean was dark, too dark. Whenever Nilo looked down, he felt a small shiver inside. What's down there? He often wondered, but he never stayed long enough to find out. Other dolphins would dive down together, moving smoothly into the deep blue water. They disappeared for a while, then returned calm and happy. "Come with us," they would call, but Nilo always shook his head. "I'll stay up here," he said quietly. One night, the ocean was especially still. The moon reflected across the water like a long silver path. Nilo floated near the surface, watching the gentle waves. He felt safe, but also a little curious. He took a small breath and dipped his head slightly below the surface. The world changed immediately. The light faded. The blue turned deeper, quieter. He quickly lifted his head back up. His heart beat faster. "Too dark," he whispered. Just then, a soft golden glow appeared beneath the water. Nilo blinked in surprise. The light moved gently, like it was alive. From the darkness, something magical appeared. A glowing train, drifting slowly through the ocean, as if it were part of a dream. And beside it floated a tiny, shining star, wearing a small blue conductor hat. "Hello," the star said softly. Nilo hesitated, then swam a little closer. "Hello, I'm Milo, the star conductor," he said. Nilo looked down at the glowing train. "It's not dark where you are," he said. Milo smiled gently. "The deep is not empty," he said. "It just needs a little time for your eyes to see it." Nilo wasn't sure. "It still feels scary," he admitted. Milo drifted slowly downward. "Then don't go far," he said. "Just a little." Nilo took a breath. Slowly, he dipped below the surface again. This time, he followed Milo's light. The water grew darker, but not completely. The golden glow from Milo spread gently around them. Shapes began to appear, soft, faint. Tiny fish shimmered in the distance. Soft, glowing plants moved with the current. The water felt quiet, but not empty. Nilo's body relaxed slightly. "It's different," he said. Milo nodded. "Not everything in the dark is meant to be feared. Some things are just waiting to be seen." Nilo swam a little deeper, not too far, just enough. The ocean around him felt calm, still, peaceful. He looked back up. The surface was still there, the moonlight still waiting. "I didn't lose it," Nilo said softly. Milo smiled. "You only added something new." Nilo took one more gentle swim forward. The darkness didn't feel as big anymore. It felt wide, quiet, and full of small hidden lights. Above them, the Moonlight train drifted slowly, its glow blending into the deep blue ocean. And that night, under the quiet waves and the silver moon, a little dolphin discovered something new. The deep wasn't something to be afraid of. It was something to explore, slowly. The little hedgehog, who was afraid to get too close. In a quiet forest, where the leaves whispered softly at night, there lived a little hedgehog named Pico. Pico was small, gentle, and very careful. He liked to walk slowly under the trees, listening to the wind and watching the fireflies glow. But there was one thing Pico didn't like: getting too close to others. Whenever other animals came near, Pico would curl into a tiny ball. His soft spikes would point outward, protecting him from anything that might come too close. "Hi, Pico," the little rabbits would say. But before they could get near, Pico would already be curled up tight. Safe, but alone. "I don't want to hurt anyone," Pico would whisper to himself. "And I don't want to get hurt either." So he stayed by himself, watching from a distance. One night, the forest was calm and filled with soft, glowing lights. Fireflies floated gently through the air, like tiny stars drifting between the trees. Pico walked quietly, his tiny feet making soft sounds on the ground. He watched the fireflies from afar. They always seemed to glow together, never too close, never too far. "I wish I could be like that," Pico said softly. Just then, a warm, golden light appeared between the trees. At first, Pico thought it was a bigger firefly, but the light grew brighter and steadier. A glowing train drifted slowly through the forest, moving gently above the ground like a dream. And beside it floated a tiny, shining star wearing a small blue conductor hat. "Hello," the star said softly. Pico froze, then quickly curled into a ball. Milo paused, his light warm and gentle. "That's okay," he said quietly. "I can stay right here." Pico slowly uncurled, just a little. "You're very bright," he said. Milo smiled. "And you are very careful." Pico looked down. "I don't like getting too close," he said. "I might hurt someone." Milo floated a little closer, but not too close. "That's a kind thought," he said. "But do you know something?" Pico tilted his head. "You can choose how close you get," Milo said gently. "You don't have to hide all the time." Pico thought about that. "I don't understand," he said. Milo looked toward the fireflies. "Watch them," he said. Pico turned. The fireflies moved slowly through the air, glowing softly. Sometimes they drifted near each other. Sometimes they moved apart. But they never crashed. They never hurt each other. "They don't hide," Pico said. "They also don't rush," Milo replied. Pico stayed quiet for a moment. Then, slowly, he took a small step forward. He didn't curl up. He didn't run away. One tiny firefly drifted closer. Pico held his breath. The firefly stopped, just in front of him. Not touching, not too far. Pico relaxed. Nothing bad happened. He took another small step, then another. This time, the firefly drifted a little closer. Its soft light reflected on Pico's face. Pico didn't curl up. "I'm still safe," he whispered. Milo's light flickered gently beside him. "You see?" he said. "Close doesn't have to mean too close." Pico smiled softly. For the first time, he didn't feel like he had to choose between being safe and being alone. He could stay open, just a little. The fireflies continued to glow around him, moving gently through the quiet forest. Above the trees, the moonlight train drifted slowly through the night, its warm light blending with the soft glow below. And that night, in a forest full of quiet light, a little hedgehog discovered something new. He didn't have to hide all the time. He only needed to open, just enough. The little swan who didn't like her reflection. On a quiet lake surrounded by still trees, there lived a little swan named Elia. The water there was always calm, so calm that it reflected everything perfectly: the sky, the clouds, the moon, and every movement on the surface. And every time Elia looked down, she saw herself. Elia didn't like what she saw. Her feathers felt too small. Her wings didn't look as smooth as the older swans. Her movements felt clumsy compared to the graceful glides of others. So she tried not to look. Whenever she passed by the water, she would turn her head away. Other swans floated across the lake, their reflections moving beautifully beneath them. They looked so calm, so sure, so perfect. "I don't look like that," Elia whispered one night. The moon rose slowly, casting a soft silver glow across the water. The lake became a mirror once again. Elia tried to look away, but this time, she didn't. She looked, just for a moment, and then quickly turned away again. "I wish I didn't see myself like this," she said softly. At that moment, a warm golden light appeared across the surface of the lake. It moved gently, like a quiet ripple of light. Elia blinked. It wasn't the moon. A glowing train drifted slowly above the water, and beside it floated a tiny shining star wearing a small blue conductor hat. "Hello," the star said gently. Elia hesitated. "Hello. I'm Milo, the star conductor," he said. Elia glanced down again, then quickly looked away. "I don't like looking," she admitted. Milo floated closer, his warm light soft against the water. "Looking can feel difficult," he said, "but sometimes it changes." Elia frowned slightly. "How?" Milo drifted down toward the surface of the lake. "Come closer," he said. Elia moved slowly, carefully. She looked down again. Her reflection was still there, still the same. "I told you," she said quietly. Milo's light shimmered across the water. "Look again," he said softly. Elia stayed still. This time, she didn't rush away. The water moved slightly, just enough to soften the reflection. The lines blurred. The image shifted. Her reflection no longer looked sharp and fixed. It looked gentle. The light from Milo mixed with the moonlight. Small ripples turned into soft waves. Elia's reflection moved with the water. It wasn't still. It wasn't perfect. But it felt alive. Elia took a slow breath. "I look different," she said. Milo smiled. "You always have," he replied. "But now you're seeing something new." Elia watched quietly. The reflection wasn't something to judge. It was something to notice, to feel. She lowered her head just a little more, not too close, just enough. For the first time, she didn't feel like turning away. Above her, the moonlight train drifted slowly across the quiet sky, its light dancing gently on the water. Elia floated calmly. Her reflection moved softly beneath her. Not perfect, not still, but beautiful in its own quiet way. And that night, on a still lake under the silver moon, a little swan discovered something new. She didn't need to change what she saw. She only needed to see it a little more gently. The night everything seemed wrong. On a quiet night, under a sky filled with soft, glowing stars, something felt different. The wind moved in a direction Arlo had never noticed before. The shadows stretched across the ground in strange, uneven shapes. Even the sound of the forest felt unfamiliar. A small fox named Arlo walked slowly along the path, his ears slightly lowered. "Something isn't right," he whispered. He stopped and looked around carefully. The trees seemed taller than usual. The path felt longer, and the moon didn't look quite where it should be. Arlo took a few more cautious steps forward. Each step felt uncertain, as if the ground itself had quietly changed. "Did I come the wrong way?" he wondered. Just then, A warm, golden light appeared between the trees. It moved gently, like something drifting through a dream. A glowing train passed silently through the forest air, leaving behind a soft trail of light. And beside it floated a tiny shining star, wearing a small blue conductor hat. "Hello," the star said softly. Arlo blinked, surprised. "Everything feels wrong," he said. "I think something has changed." Milo tilted his head slightly. "Or," he said gently, "perhaps you're seeing the same things in a different way tonight." Arlo frowned. "That doesn't make sense," he replied. Milo drifted forward, his light calm and steady. "Walk with me," he said. They moved slowly through the forest together. At first, everything still felt strange. But as they walked, Arlo began to notice something. The shadows were not wrong. They were longer because the moon had risen higher into the sky. The wind was not unusual. It had simply changed direction, just as it often did. The trees were not taller. They only appeared different because the light was softer and quieter. Arlo slowed down. The more he looked, the more familiar everything became. He looked at the path beneath his feet. It hadn't changed at all. "I thought everything was different," he said quietly. Milo's light flickered gently. "Sometimes," he said, "nothing around us changes. It's our way of seeing that shifts." Arlo looked up at the moon again. It wasn't in the wrong place. It was simply higher than before. He let out a slow breath. The forest no longer felt strange. It felt calm. "Why did it feel so wrong at first?" Arlo asked. Milo smiled softly. "Because your mind was trying to make sense of something new," he said. "And when things feel unfamiliar, we often think something is wrong." Arlo thought about that. The sounds of the forest were still the same. The wind still moved gently through the trees. The night had never changed. Only his feeling had. He looked around one more time. This time, nothing felt confusing. Nothing felt out of place. Everything simply was what it had always been. Above them, the moonlight train drifted quietly through the sky, steady and unchanged. Arlo's steps became lighter. His body relaxed. "Maybe nothing was wrong after all," he said. Milo nodded. "Sometimes," he said softly, "what feels like a trick is just a new way of seeing." Arlo smiled. And that night, under a sky that had never truly changed, a small fox discovered something important. Not everything that feels wrong is wrong. Sometimes it's simply unfamiliar, and unfamiliar things can become calm again. The day love stayed quiet. On a soft and quiet day, when the sky was covered in gentle clouds, the world felt slower than usual. The wind moved softly through the trees. The light felt calm, almost like the world itself was resting. A small lamb named Luma walked slowly across a peaceful field. She noticed something unusual. No one was rushing. No one was playing loudly. Everything felt quiet. "Why is today so still?" Luma asked softly. She looked around. Even the birds were flying lower, their songs softer than usual. The air felt different, not sad, but thoughtful. Luma continued walking, her small steps gentle on the ground. She didn't feel afraid, but she felt something she couldn't quite explain. As she reached the top of a small hill, She saw a warm, golden light in the distance. It moved slowly, quietly, like something that didn't want to disturb the silence. A glowing train drifted gently through the sky, and beside it floated a tiny, shining star wearing a small blue conductor hat. "Hello," the star said softly. Luma looked up. "Why does everything feel so quiet today?" she asked. Milo drifted closer, his light gentle and calm. "Because today," he said, "is a day for remembering." Luma tilted her head slightly. "Remembering what?" Milo looked out across the field. "A long time ago," he said softly, "someone chose to give love, even when it was difficult." Luma listened carefully. "They didn't shout," Milo continued. "They didn't fight. They simply stayed gentle, even when the world wasn't." The wind moved softly through the grass. Luma looked around again. The quiet didn't feel strange anymore. It felt meaningful. "Why didn't they stop?" she asked. Milo's light flickered gently. "Because love doesn't always protect itself," he said. "Sometimes it chooses to stay." Luma stayed very still. She didn't fully understand, but she felt something warm inside her chest. "They stayed for others?" she asked softly. Milo nodded. The clouds moved slowly across the sky. The light remained soft. Luma sat down quietly. She didn't feel like running. She didn't feel like speaking loudly. She just wanted to stay. "To remember," she whispered. Milo smiled. Above them, the Moonlight train drifted gently through the sky, its light soft and steady. Nothing in the world seemed loud that day. Nothing rushed. And yet, something very important was there. Not seen, not heard, but felt. And that day, in the quiet stillness of the world, a small lamb learned something new. Love doesn't always need to be loud. Sometimes it stays quiet. The morning the light came back. The night had been long, longer than usual. The sky stayed dark for what felt like forever, and the world seemed to be waiting, without knowing for what. In a quiet meadow, a small bunny named Elio sat still among the soft grass. He had been there for a while, watching, waiting. "Why is it taking so long?" he whispered. The stars above were faint. The air felt cold. Even the wind had slowed, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Elio looked toward the horizon. Usually, by now, the first light would have appeared. But today, nothing. He lowered his ears slightly. What if the light doesn't come back? He wondered. The silence around him grew deeper. Not loud, not scary, just empty. Elio curled his small body closer, trying to stay warm, trying to stay calm. Just then, far in the distance, something shimmered. A soft golden glow, very faint, almost too small to notice. Elio lifted his head. The glow moved gently across the horizon, slow, steady. And then, from the quiet sky, a familiar shape appeared. A glowing train, drifting softly through the fading darkness. And beside it floated a tiny shining star wearing a small blue conductor hat. "Hello," the star said gently. Elio blinked. "You came back," he said softly. Milo smiled. "I never left," he replied. Elio looked around. "It felt like everything stopped," he said. "Like the light wasn't coming back." Milo drifted closer, his glow warm against the cool air. "Sometimes," he said, "when things are quiet, it can feel like nothing is happening." Elio listened. "But quiet doesn't mean empty," Milo continued, "and waiting doesn't mean nothing is coming." Elio looked back toward the horizon. The light was growing now, still soft, but stronger. The sky slowly began to change from deep blue to a gentle shade of silver. The first ray of sunlight touched the grass. Elio's eyes widened. "It's coming back," he whispered. Milo nodded. "It was always on its way," he said. The light spread slowly across the meadow, warming the ground, softening the air. The darkness didn't disappear all at once. It gently stepped aside. Elio stood up. He didn't feel cold anymore. He didn't feel unsure. He felt calm. The waiting was over, and yet it didn't feel sudden. It felt natural, like something that had always been meant to happen. Above him, the Moonlight train drifted quietly into the brightening sky. Elio took a small step forward, then another, not because he was afraid anymore, but because he knew the light would be there. And that morning, as the world slowly filled with warmth again, a small bunny discovered something new. Even when it feels like the light is gone, it is still on its way. The first step into the light. The light had returned, soft, warm, quiet. It spread gently across the meadow, touching the grass, the trees, and everything it reached. A small bunny named Elio stood at the edge of the field. He could feel the warmth on his fur. He could see the light stretching far ahead. But he didn't move. The night was gone. The darkness had passed. And yet, Elio stayed where he was. "What if it goes away again?" he whispered. The field in front of him was open, bright, peaceful, but also unfamiliar. Elio lowered his ears slightly. The place where he stood still felt safe. He had stayed here through the long night. He had waited here. And now, even though the light had returned, he didn't know if he was ready to leave. He took a small breath. The air felt warmer than before, but something inside him still felt unsure. "What if I step forward?" he said quietly, "and everything changes again?" The thought stayed with him. He looked at the ground, then at the light, then back at the ground again. His body felt still, but his thoughts kept moving. Just then, a soft golden glow appeared beside him, warm, familiar. A glowing train drifted slowly across the brightening sky, and beside it floated a tiny shining star wearing a small blue conductor hat. "Hello," the star said gently. Elio looked up. "I can see the light now," he said, "but I don't know if I should go." Milo drifted closer, his glow calm and steady. "You don't have to go far," he said. Elio looked ahead again. The meadow seemed endless. "What if I'm not ready?" he asked. Milo was quiet for a moment. Then he said softly, "You don't have to feel ready to begin." Elio blinked. "That doesn't make sense," he said. Milo smiled gently. "Most beginnings don't," he replied. The light around them stayed soft, steady, unmoving. Elio watched it carefully. "It didn't disappear," he said quietly. Milo nodded. "It stayed," he said. Elio took another breath, slower this time. "Do I have to walk all the way?" he asked. Milo shook his head. "No," he said. "Just one step." Elio looked down at his feet. One step didn't feel so big, but it still felt important. Slowly, carefully, he lifted one small foot. For a moment, he hesitated. Then, he stepped forward. Nothing sudden happened. The ground didn't shift. The light didn't fade. It felt the same. Warm. Elio stood still again, waiting. But nothing changed. The light was still there. He looked ahead. It didn't feel as far anymore. He took another step, then another. Each step felt a little easier, not because everything was certain, but because the light stayed with him. He turned back once. The place he had stood before was still there, safe. But now, so was everything ahead. Above him, the moonlight train drifted quietly through the morning sky. Elio kept walking. Not fast, not far, just forward. And that morning, in a field filled with gentle light, a small bunny discovered something new. You don't have to be ready for everything. You only need to be ready for one small